Hello, guys. How do you maximize your 20s? So, I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and we were talking about, well, he was asking me about what advice, he's in his early 20s, what advice I'd give him about how to maximize his 20s. What advice would I give him about how to live the good life and really exercise his potential and his capacity and his success and set himself up to live the most remarkable life in his 30s, 40s, 50s, and moving forward. And I reflected a lot on this question, and I thought I would share with you some of the things that I shared with him and some others that I thought of, and maybe you might find them useful. Now, I need to give you a caveat in saying that my friend is a very ambitious kind of person. He's been through a lot in his life, and therefore, he is not what I would call an average lad. He is more ambitious than most people, more serious than most people. So, already, even the fact that he's even asking me this kind of question gives you an indication as to the level of intensity and the level of drive that he has. So, some of the things that I'm going to share with you today, and I'm just being completely honest, for most people, is just out of the question because most people aren't going to do them. But if you're one of the rare few who does have that desire and ambition to really push to the edges of your capacity, then I do think some of these things can be useful to you. Okay, so let's go. So the first thing that I wrote down here is find people who are going up and stay in touch with them. So what I mean by this is that you want to get around people who want to go in the same direction as you, and actually people who are driven to move forward. I know this may sound really obvious, but I have met a huge amount of people who love to sit in their hurt, in their suffering. They love to get attention through their suffering, through victimhood. And the problem you've got with that is if you sit around shit long enough, eventually it stops smelling, right? What's that saying? Birds of a feather flock together. If you hang around with losers, eventually you become a loser. If nine of your friends smoke weed, I guarantee you, no matter how noble you are, after a while, you're going to try weed, right? And so we know that the quality and the quantity of the kind of life you live will hugely be determined by the kinds of people who you have around you. In fact, historically, one of the things that people have said to their daughters is when they send their daughters off to university and told them, go and hang around wherever the doctors hang around, wherever the lawyers hang around, wherever the engineers hang around. Why? Because fathers intrinsically understand excuse me, that if you want your daughter to link up and marry up and have the best chances of picking the best partner, the best time to do it is whilst they're still at university. They have less competition. And here's the key word that I really want you to understand is that they have proximity. A lot of the big problem that I've had in trying to interview successful people is that I have not had proximity to them. In other words, I have not had connection with them. Every successful person has these gatekeepers, whether it's a PA or whatever. But the more successful and the higher up the echelon they are in any area, the harder it is to reach them. And the easiest way to actually be able to gain access to people who are going up or people who are up is to be able to have a connection. And so, what I would share with you is if you can find people who want to be plumbers, who want to start their own plumbing business, who want to get into education, who want to get into hospitality, these are the kinds of people you want to get around, right? Because if you can get around them, one of the great things that's going to happen is as they get older, their circle of influence is actually going to increase. It's going to expand, right? Because they're going to be connected with other successful people. And you can see a lot of success is quote unquote being lucky. And what that means is that somebody who you know knows that you're really competent and good at something, and they have a friend who has a problem and you can solve that problem, and they will call you and say, oh, have you thought about this person, or you should get in contact with this person. And that's how you quote unquote get lucky. The problem is those people who make those decisions, unless you yourself have a degree of success or you have a degree of connection with the person who they're getting the recommendation from, they are not going to, you're not going to have as much credibility as you should do, right? So What I would share with you is as simple as that. You want to get around people who are doing the work on themselves, people who are wanting to move forward, people who are wanting to become successful. Watch out for the quality of the questions that people ask who are trying to move forward, because people who want to become successful ask much deeper questions than most people. Look, everyone will talk about football or sports or the World Cup or whatever, but successful people would be talking about trauma. They'll be talking, and again, let me just stop a minute. When I talk about success, obviously success is subjective to most people. So I'm using a blanket version of what I believe most people are seeking success, right? And one of those areas is the level of connectivity that we have with other people, our relationships, our partner, right? How much income we have so that we can live the kind of lifestyle that we want, the kind of character that we have, and the way in which we are portrayed, and the status in which we're able to achieve, and the respect and the admiration. All of those, of course, I think most of us will want. Obviously, there's exceptions to every rule, but as a general rule, most of us want these things. And you will see that as you start moving up and you want to be more and more successful in all the different facets of life, you're going to be around more people who ask deeper questions. Questions about what is love, what is a long committed relationship, what is infidelity, what is success, what is failure, how do we stay noble, how do we work on our character. You will see that they use these kinds of words. It just is that way. I don't know why, what I do, but it's too deep to get into in this video. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I would share with you, which I wrote down here, is four things technically: travel, eat, experience, and ask questions. So, travel means literally get out there and see the world. And I'm going to put this into a caveat. When I talk about travel, let me be specific. I mean, by traveling, I mean literally solo traveling, not going on holiday with other people, not staying in a resort, not staying in a villa, not staying in some nice hotel. I mean going solo traveling, staying in hostels, um, staying and eating in the areas that people who work in the hotels would be living in and staying in, right? I've just realized in my life that every time I've gone on holiday with a friend, I spend most of my life of our time worrying about, are they okay? Do they want to go here? Instead of actually reaching out and wanting to meet people, right? When I'm by myself, I have to plan, where am I going to stay? Who am I going to stay with? What am I going to be eating? What time am I going to be in? Where is safe to go? How much money can I carry? There are all these incredible skills that I accrue that are really important to build relationships, friendships, connections, love, success, that if you just, I've found are very difficult to acquire and practice if you're constantly with other people. That's personally what I would say. It's no coincidence that I've met a lot of people who are in their mid 30s who are married, but they have no friends. Why? Because they haven't exercised that that skill in a long time. They've been great in their relationship, but they haven't exercised a friendship skill in a long time. Two, eat. What do I mean by eat? I've noticed that there is a direct correlation between the how much of a role food plays in people's lives and how happy they are. People who tend to be happier, in my opinion, and what I've observed, seem to have food at the center of their life, right? I think because food brings community, it brings people together. It's just one of those things that just brings people together. And I've noticed that the wider range you have of ability to eat different food, the wider cast and the wider net of people you are connected to. So what I would say to you is, I used to have this thing where I used to go to every single week, I would try a new dish. So I would go to a Nepalese restaurant and I would order something Nepalese. I'd go to an Italian restaurant and order something Italian. If I had a Lithuanian friend, I'll pay them like 20 quid on a Sunday and say to them, whatever you're cooking, which is Lithuanian, I will pay for you. Just cook me extra because I want to try it, right? And that's what I'm talking about. I'm telling you that the bigger the net of food that you have, There's just something about it which is going to set you up to live the most incredible life. And also, it's going to introduce you to the most incredible people. And you're going to have this versatility. You're going to find out how things are made. And people are so passionate about food. Trust me. Okay. This is one that's really important. The third one is experience. Experience means, man, get out there and actually live. I mean, if you've never had sex, try it. If you've never been to a nightclub, try it. If you've never been to Germany, go there. If you've never been to Moscow, go there. If you've never been skiing, go and try skiing. If you've never been abroad on a plane, go abroad on a plane. If you've never been to Paris, go there. If you've never been to Disneyland, go there. If you've never had a suit, go there. If you've never had a haircut in a black barber's, go and try it. That's what I mean when I talk about go out there and experience life. I think a lot of us, our variety and our buffet of experiences in life are very limited. And what I would say to you is, excuse me, if you want to go out there and experience and have the best possible life, you need to go out there and experience life, not just do the same thing that you've always done over and over and over and over again. There are all of these web and interconnections that happen as you go out there and experience new things. And actually, a lot of people, what they struggle with is their purpose. And you will find that if you study people who've discovered their purpose, they found it on the road to, well, this makes no sense. A lot of people have gone traveling somewhere or done something, and in the great scheme of things, it makes no relevant sense. It's not connected to anything that they want to do, but they found and discovered their purpose on that route. I'm just saying. And the last one is ask questions. Ask questions is interlinked to all of this. I mean, ask quality questions. You know, if you look at people who have great connections with their friend, they have this innate ability to ask questions. There is this kind of equilibrium, this dance, this kind of I don't know what the word is, this pattern where they're constantly asking questions and then they're listening and then they are developing a philosophy based on what they've heard, what they've seen, what they've experienced. And that's what really creates a wholesome person. To create an incredible person where you can go to a opera and be able to have a conversation with somebody there, to meet a CEO and be able to have a conversation with them, to go to a charity and be able to have a conversation with a homeless person, you need to have a wide range of abilities to conversate with different people, right? And the way you do that is you've got to be open to all experiences, open to all narratives, open to all stories. And as you collect more of these, the better your understanding of the way the world functions, the way people function is going to be. That's personally what I would recommend to you. The third thing that I wrote down here is fail. In fact, I actually wrote fail, fail, fail. And this, in a part, is actually connected to all the other things. I mean, you've got to go out there and just try everything. To try everything means that there's a lot of things that you're going to figure out that they don't work for you. And that they say, there's a saying that goes something on the lines of, one of the ways to discover what you want is to figure out what you don't want. So what I mean by this is if you don't know what you want to do as a career, pick 6 different careers that you would love to do and just spend 6 months trying them, right? If you don't know whether you want to work daytime or night shift, try each for 5 or 4 months and see what it's like to work night shifts or day shift. If you've never worked in a warehouse, go and try it. If you've never tried a threesome, go and try a threesome. You might find out it doesn't work for you. If you've never tried an open relationship, go and try it. Some of you have tried having short hair. Have you ever tried long hair? You don't know. Try it for 6 months to have long hair and see what happens. Maybe you've always had a beard. Shut the beard down and go and try it. Maybe you've actually never been on a date. Go out there and pretend you're not expecting anything from the date, because then you can't be rejected, and go out there and actually see what is it like. Go and try speed dating. What is that like? Meaning, just go out there and actually see life. Try and attempt to try and save some money. Try and attempt to actually build an incredible life for yourself. The key word here, which in failing, is you've actually got to attempt stuff, right? A lot of people never attempt. I'm saying to you if you want to build this incredible life in your 20s and you want to be able to have this repertoire to pick from, you've got to go out there and fail. You've got to go out there and try everything. You've got to go and try and lift and bench press 60K. You've got to go and try and take your driving lessons and your driving tests. Then you will discover whether you can drive or you can't drive, right? You've actually got to attempt things. No talking about shit. I mean doing it. Here's the next one. I said here, start to build and plan. So what I mean by this is, as you move forward and you learn stuff, you should actually be technically getting better. Meaning, you should be saying, nope, I don't want to work night shift anymore, which means you alleviate all night shift work. I don't want to work in a warehouse. That alleviates all of those. Okay, I want to do something with kids. Okay, what jobs are available that I can do working with kids? Okay, I don't want to work with teenagers. I want to work with primary school kids. Well, you see what I'm saying? As you move forward and you meet people and you experience things and you hear stuff and you read stuff and you talk to people, you should be narrowing and refining your life, which means that you can be able to cast an even bigger vision for your life. Because when you first start off in your 20s, you're not really sure where you want to be in 10 years. 10 years is too big of a gap to decide what you want, where you're going to be, right? Because you're just trying to kind of figure out, how does the world function? What are the rules? School's different to what the normal real life is actually like. People don't do what they say, right? There's no one to support me as much as I did in school. So you're kind of trying to figure it all out. But as you figure it out, you're going to be able to cast an even bigger vision. And I say this because if you really want to live an incredible life, you're going to have to build it. In other words, you're going to have to earn it. The problem with this is most people have been brought up in a world of microwaving everything, of having everything quick, of Deliveroo, of having Amazon the next day. To actually have an incredible life, you're going to have to earn it. Earn it means you're going to have to give something up. A price has to be paid. If you're going to be a multimillionaire by 30, you're going to have to give something up. If you're saying that you want to have 3 or 4 kids by the time you reach 35, it's going to come at a cost, right? And the quicker you decide what price you're going to be able to pay, which will be determined by where you want to go, the quicker you will basically achieve success in any facet of life. Um, and that was it. Let me not move forward without saying this. Plan means when you first begin off with, you're going to have to kind of make it up because you don't know anything. But as you continue to progress in your life, you're actually going to have to plan things. You're actually going to have to back up some of the claims that you say. If you say, oh, I'm going to be rich, can your life back it up? Can you show me a plan that is going to, a proven plan? Now, I get it. Sometimes you can do everything that you're supposed to and things will still not work out. But I want a rough idea. Like, what's step one? What's step two? Okay, you say you want to become a millionaire. How are you going to do that? Are you going to buy a house and then redo it up and then refinance it, take that money, buy another one? Are you going to do cryptocurrency? Are you going to work in a company, make your way to CEO, buy shares in a company? Are you going to start your own organization, your own salon, and then multiply it and every 2 years buy another one? I don't know. What is your plan? You need to figure that out, because I'm telling you, if you don't have a plan by the time you reach your 30s, your life is going to be very, 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 very difficult. That's what I would recommend to you, but it's your life. You can do whatever you want. Here's the next thing that I wrote down. Focus on skill acquisition, knowledge, and knowledge that is relevant to your vision. So what I said to my friend was, as you start making your way through your 20s, one of the things that you want to begin to do is acquire things for where you're trying to go. Do not, so for example, I say to people, do not go to university unless you know what you want to do. Because you can spend 3 years wasting getting debt for nothing. It's got no relevance to you. I get it. You could have experience, you could meet people, blah, 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 blah. No. I would say to you, you're better off doing drop shipping, earn loads of money doing drop shipping in the next 3 years and forget about the degree. Or go and work 7 days a week for the next 3 years and save up money to buy your first property. That is going to be more useful for you in the long run than going and getting a degree when you don't even know what you want to get the degree for. Or go and travel for the next 3 years and see the world whilst you discover what you'd like to do. Again, that doesn't mean that you're going to find out what you want to do, because nothing is guaranteed, but it's more relevant to moving forward in your life. So what I would say is, if you really want to set yourself up, if you know, for example, that you want to do something to do with writing books, why don't you go and do a literature degree? Or if you know that you would like to work with kids, why don't you go and get and acquire get work experience or jobs working with kids, whether that be through a charity, it be through a school. If you know that you want to work with kids, go and get things that are related to safeguarding. Do you see what I'm saying? Take training courses that are about adolescents or teenagers or whatever, because the more that you can build yourself up, the quicker later on you're going to have this compounded not only experience but also uh, these references that can back you up. You're going to have all of this training that can back you up as well. It's incredible. Your life will be very, very, very different if you do that. Acquire skills that are relevant for where you want to go. If you know that you want to build an incredible marriage, guess what? You need to learn about pre-marriage counseling. You need to read loads of books on marriage, on what to ask, questions to find out what questions that you should know before you get married. Do you see what I mean? If you know that you want to have vitality and strength and vigor and energy, you need to go and read books about fitness. You need to understand how does the body work. If you want to have 10 kids, you need to learn about parenting and what does it mean to parent twins. Do you see what I mean? You want to acquire the skills that are relevant for what you want. Don't just acquire random things. If you know that you're watching TV or you love YouTube, watch YouTube on stuff that you're actually interested in, that is going to move your life forward, instead of just watching random things. That's what I would suggest, and I suggested to my friend. And the last thing that I wrote down here is start solving issues that are a big issue in your life. So all of us, I say every single one of us has a dragon that we have to conquer. Okay, and what I mean by this is, for you, it might be alcoholism, it might be money management, it might be telling the truth, it might be lying. For you, it might be training, it might be your family, it might be friendship, it might be the way you look. Every single one of us has this battle, this war that we have to conquer. Some of us don't conquer it, and in fact it kills us. Some of us, our battle is mental health. Some of us, our battle is anorexia. Some of us, our battle is food, and food literally kills us, right? And so what I would say to you is, as you begin to move through your life in your 20s, you need to work on the areas that are going to become a huge problem for you. Because if you know that you love gambling and you acquire huge amounts of money, you know what's going to happen. If you know that you're somebody who is very insecure, and again, part of this is you're going to have to see yourself. You're going to have to see yourself how you may not want to see yourself. You're going to have to admit yourself to you. If you know you're insecure and you really love relationships and you want to be in a secure relationship, you best go to counseling. I don't know what you have to do, whether you have to work an extra shift, um, you have to go through your work to ask for support or whatever, but you need to figure out a way to solve this insecurity within yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to have everything, but you're going to be unhappy. What I've noticed, in essentially, which is what I told my friend, is that people avoid the biggest problem in their life, and they have everything, but the one issue that they have is not solved, and it ends up destroying all of the other things that they've built in their life. So that's what I would personally recommend to you. I don't know whether it's useful for you or not, but that's what I would say. If I was in that position where I wanted to maximize my 20s, these are some of the things that I would do. I hope they've been useful. If you have any questions, always email me, send me a message on any platform, and I'll do my best to reply. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.